Hi everyone, welcome back, thanks for joining us today. We've got another brand new story to share with you today, so let's begin. My name is Adam, and 5 years ago, I lost everything due to my job, my marriage, and the kids I thought were mine. But today, I'm a self-made billionaire. When my cheating wife came crawling back, demanding money for her kids, I gave her an offer she'll never forget. Let me tell you how it all went down. 5 years ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I was a project manager at a mid-sized tech firm, a stable job with good pay. My wife, Lisa, and I had been married for almost 10 years. We had 2 amazing kids, Ju Pi R, so I thought. Life felt predictable and safe, until the day it wasn't. The company I worked for had hit a rough patch. Sales were down, budgets were slashed, and layoffs were inevitable. I'll never forget that morning when they called me into hour. I walked out of that meeting with a severance package and a box of my things. Just like that, my career was over. That drive home was one of the longest of my life. My mind was spinning. How was I going to provide for my family? How could I face Lisa and the kids? I felt like I'd let everyone down. Unemployment wasn't an option for me. I had to find a way to keep moving. I'd always dreamed of starting my own business, and now, with nothing to lose, I decided to leap. I poured everything into it, my time, my energy, and every penny of our savings. But building something from scratch isn't glamorous. Most days, I felt like I was drowning, no steady income, bills piling up, and no guarantee it would ever pay off. Every time I looked at Lisa, I could see the weight of it all wearing on her too. But she never complained, not at first. Lisa stepped up in ways I didn't expect. She picked up extra shifts at her job and assisted with the household finances. And I'll admit, I admired her for it. It made me feel like we were in this together. At least, that's what I thought. Looking back now, I realized I was blind to what was really going on behind the scenes. That was just the beginning of my story. What happened next? Well, let's just say it changed everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and family. Stick around, this is where things get real. Like and subscribe to the channel, by the way. I noticed things started to change just a few months after I lost my job. At first, I thought it was just the stress of our situation. Losing your job puts a lot of pressure on a family. And I figured Lisa was just overwhelmed. But looking back, I think the signs were there all along. She became distant, cold, almost like I was invisible. She stopped asking about my day and stopped checking in on how the business was going. It was like she didn't care anymore. Then there were the late nights out. She'd tell me she was meeting up with her friends for girls' night. But it started happening more often. When I'd ask who she was with, her answers were vague, "You don't know them," or "just the usual group," and then quickly changed the subject. Her phone was another red flag. She never used to be secretive about it, but now it was always locked, always face down on the table. If it buzzed, she'd pick it up right away and step out of the room. I even caught her whispering on the phone a couple of times. When I asked about it, she snapped at me, saying I was paranoid and needed to focus on getting a job. For a while, I told myself I was overthinking. I didn't want to believe anything was wrong. I convinced myself that it was all just the stress talking, hers and mine. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Then one night, everything changed. She said she was going out with her friends again. I asked her where she was going, and she gave me the same vague answer, "Just out, don't wait up." That night, I noticed she had left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was getting ready. It buzzed with a notification, and for a split second, I saw a message pop up on the screen. It was from someone named Bob, and it said, "Where's something hot?" My hands were shaking as I put the phone back down, acting like I hadn't seen anything. I didn't say a word to her as she left the house, but I knew I had to find out the truth. I decided to follow her. I know it sounds crazy, but I needed to know. She said she was meeting her friends at a restaurant across town, so I parked nearby and waited. Sure enough, she walked in, only it wasn't with her friends, it was with a man. I watched them laugh, lean into each other, and hold hands like a couple. My heart sank. Seeing it with my own eyes was like an attack on my ego. When she got home that night, I didn't confront her. I couldn't, not yet. I took some photos of them that night as evidence in case I confronted her. But to confront her, I needed to get more evidence to ascertain when the affair began. Over the next few days, I started digging. I checked her phone bill and saw numbers she had been calling and texting all the time. Numbers I didn't recognize. I even looked through her social media, finding subtle hints and pictures that didn't make sense. It wasn't long before I pieced it together. The affair hadn't just started when I lost my job. It had been going on for years, long before we hit hard times. That was the part that stung the most. She didn't cheat because we were struggling. She had been lying to me even when things were good. Then came the hardest decision of all. I couldn't stop wondering about the kids. If she could lie to me about everything else, what if she had lied about them too? I didn't want to believe it, but I had to know. I ordered DNA tests for both of them, trying to prepare myself for whatever the results might say. When the results came back, they confirmed my worst fear: neither of the kids was mine. I just sat there, staring at the papers, feeling like my whole world had collapsed. It wasn't just the betrayal of her cheating, it was the fact that she had let me believe these children were mine. I had loved them, raised them, and sacrificed for them. And all along, she knew the truth and kept it from me. That was the biggest slap in the face. It wasn't just an affair, it was years of lies, years of disrespect. I might have been able to forgive her for cheating, but making me raise someone else's kids without telling me? That was something I could never get past. After the DNA results, I decided to gather evidence first. I took screenshots of conversations between her and her lover. I needed proof that no one could argue with. Then there was the DNA test. Once I had everything I could get, I quietly filed for divorce. I made sure to cite infidelity as the reason, and I included the DNA test results as evidence. It wasn't easy to keep it to myself during those weeks, but I knew I had to play it smart. When she was served the divorce papers, I'll never forget her reaction. She didn't cry or apologize, she barely even seemed surprised. She just smirked and said, "Well, I figured this was coming. You're not man enough to hold this family together anyway." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut, but I didn't let her see it. I stayed calm because I knew the truth was on my side. The divorce process was a nightmare. It dragged on for nearly a year. During that time, I was barely holding it together. My startup wasn't doing well. Every day felt like a battle just to keep it alive. I was working 16-hour days, trying to pitch to investors, build products, and somehow stay sane at the same time. I was dealing with lawyers, court dates, and the constant stress of the divorce. There were moments when I felt completely alone. My friends didn't understand what I was going through. And my family was far away. There were nights when I just sat in my makeshift office, staring at my laptop, wondering if I was making the biggest mistake of my life by trying to build this company. But I kept going. I had to. In the end, the divorce settlement turned out better than I expected. I didn't have much money or assets at the time, so there wasn't much for her to take. Plus, with the evidence I had, the court didn't side with her demands for more. She was so eager to move on with her lover that she didn't even fight for much. I guess she was tired of me, tired of covering bills, tired of living with someone who, in her eyes, had no future. She took the kids with her and went to live with their biological father. Honestly, I thought that chapter of my life was finally closed. I thought I could focus on my business and start fresh. But little did I know, this was just the beginning. When the divorce was finalized, I was left with nothing but my old car, a laptop, and a dream I'd been clinging to for years. Honestly, I didn't even have time to feel sorry for myself. The startup needed all my energy. And if I gave up, I'd have nothing left. I spent most nights in my tiny one-room apartment because I had to let go of the old apartment. My bed was just a mattress on the floor, and my desk was an old table I'd found on the curb. I lived on instant noodles and cheap coffee. My day started at 6 a.m. and ended sometime after midnight, sometimes later, depending on how many emails I had to send. I worked non-stop trying to make something out of nothing. Cold calling potential clients, pitching my product to anyone who'd listen, and attending every networking event I could find. Most of the time, people weren't interested. Some flat out told me my idea would never work. I lost count of how many doors were slammed in my face, both figuratively and literally. It was exhausting and humiliating, but every no just made me more determined. Money was tight, so tight that I couldn't afford to hire anyone. I was the CEO, the marketer, the IT guy, and the janitor, all rolled into one. There were nights when I thought about giving up, especially when I couldn't see any progress. But then, small victories started to come. One day, I landed my first paying client. It wasn't a huge deal, just a small contract worth a couple of $1,000. But it felt like winning the lottery. That client referred me to another, and soon I had a handful of customers who believed in what I was doing. I started improving my product based on their feedback, and little by little, the word spread. Meanwhile, my ex-wife had no idea any of this was happening. To her, I was still the same loser she'd walked out on some years ago. She took the kids and moved on with her life. After the divorce, I channeled that anger, my pain, into my work. Every time I wanted to quit, I remembered her words, "You'll never amount to anything." It became fuel for the fire. After 4 years of grinding, things started to change. My little company caught the attention of an investor at a tech conference. He liked my pitch and saw the potential in my product. That meeting led to another, and before I knew it, I had a team of investors backing me. Suddenly, I wasn't doing this alone anymore. With their help, I scaled the business quickly. We developed new features, expanded our reach, and started gaining serious traction in the market. Then came the moment I'll never forget, the day I got the call. A major company was interested in acquiring my startup. At first, I thought it was a prank, but after several meetings and negotiations, the deal was sealed. 4 years of sleepless nights and relentless effort had finally paid off. My startup was acquired for billions of dollars. The news was everywhere. My face was on tech blogs, business magazines, and even TV. I went from being the guy no one believed in to a name people couldn't stop talking about. And my ex-wife, she found out the same way everyone else did. Ju Bei-ru the headlines. I never thought I'd hear from her again after the divorce. Honestly, I thought she'd moved on to a better life with her new partner. The man she claimed could offer her the happiness and stability I couldn't. But life doesn't always go the way people plan, does it? It started with phone calls. My assistant mentioned someone had been trying to reach me repeatedly. When I asked who it was, she hesitated, then said, "It's your ex-wife." I told her to ignore the calls, and she did, but Lisa wasn't one to give up easily. A few days later, she showed up at my office, no warning, no appointment. Just her, standing at the front desk, asking to see me. When my assistant informed me, I was tempted to tell her to send her away. But curiosity got the better of me, so I agreed to meet her in the conference room. I'll admit, I didn't know what to expect. but it certainly wasn't what walked through that door. She looked different, tired, but still beautiful. Her tone was soft, almost pleading, as she sat across from me. "I made a mistake," she started. "I realized now that I threw away a good man. I've been thinking about us, and I regret everything I did to you." I didn't say a word, I just watched her, waiting for the real reason she was there to surface. Sure enough, after a few moments of awkward silence, she continued. "I stopped working while I was with him. I thought we'd build a life together, but he left me. He walked out on me and the kids." She paused, probably expecting me to react to the mention of the kids. I didn't. "I'm struggling," she went on. "I thought maybe we could, I thought maybe we could start over. I still care about you, and I know deep down you still care about me too." That's when I couldn't hold back a small laugh, not out of amusement, but disbelief. "Start over?" I asked. "You mean after everything you did? After you cheated on me, humiliated me, and told me I was nothing?" She flinched but quickly recovered. "I was wrong. I see that now. Please, let's just talk about it." I leaned back in my chair, folding my arms. "And what about the kids?" I asked, my voice calm but firm. "Are they part of this reunion you're imagining?" Her expression changed slightly, almost as if she realized I wasn't buying it. She sighed. "Look, if you don't want to work on us, fine, but the kids, they're innocent in all this. They need help, I need help. Can you at least do something for them?" The irony of her words wasn't lost on me. Those kids, as innocent as they were, weren't mine. I'd learned that the hard way, and she knew it too. Yet here she was, asking me to step in and play father when their biological dad had clearly failed. I stayed quiet for a moment, watching her squirm under the weight of my silence. Then I stood up, walked to the window, and looked out over the city. A view she'd never imagined I'd have when she left me. "I'll help," I said finally, turning back to face her. For a brief second, I saw relief flash across her face. "I can offer you a job at my company. It's nothing glamorous, a low-paying position in customer support. But it's honest work." Her mouth dropped open. "A job?" she repeated, as if the concept was foreign to her. "That's it, after everything we've been through?" "Yes," I replied, my tone steady. "That's it." She stood abruptly, her chair screeching against the floor. "You think this is funny? You're insulting me." "No," I said calmly, walking toward the door. "I'm giving you a chance. It's more than you gave me when you decided I wasn't good enough." As I opened the door to let her out, she stood there for a moment, stunned and furious. Then she stormed out without another word. I didn't stop her, and I didn't look back. That's the thing about people like her, they only come back when they think they can take something from you. And this time, I wasn't giving her anything. A few days later, I started seeing posts about me on social media. At first, I thought it was a mistake, but then I read the captions. She had written long posts, calling me names like cold-hearted billionaire, and a deadbeat who doesn't care about kids. She even shared old photos of us together, twisting the story to make it look like I had abandoned her and the kids when they needed me the most. Her posts were full of lies. She said I refused to help our children, and that I was too proud to admit my mistakes. She even hinted that I became rich by cheating people out of money. Her followers, mostly strangers who didn't know the truth, started commenting things like, "What a terrible man," and "How could he do this to his own family?" It didn't stop there. She sent emails to people I worked with, saying I was emotionally abusive and warning them to watch their backs. She even tried to get a few online blogs to write articles about my cold-hearted behavior. Most ignored her, but one small site published a piece about her version of the story. It was clear she was trying to ruin my reputation in any way she could. At first, I was annoyed. It's hard not to feel angry when someone spreads lies about you. But then I thought about it. This was the same woman who had cheated on me for years. Lied about our kids being mine, and walked away without a second thought. What more could I expect from her? It was almost funny how predictable she had become. Instead of reacting, I stayed quiet. I didn't post anything, didn't respond to her accusations, and didn't call her out. Why? Because I didn't need to. People who knew me, friends, colleagues, and business partners, already knew the truth. And the strangers who believed her lies? They didn't matter to me. I realized that fighting her would only make things worse, it would give her more attention. And honestly, I had better things to do. While she was busy writing angry posts and trying to drag me down, I was out there building something real. Something she could never take away. And to be honest, I felt sorry for her. She was still stuck in the same cycle. Trying to blame others for her problems instead of fixing her own life. I didn't need to get revenge because, in the end, her own actions were doing that for her. Looking back now, I can't help but ask myself one simple question: what did I see in her? I've thought about it so many times, and the only answer I can come up with is that I was desperate. Desperate to feel loved. I ignored the signs because I didn't want to face the truth. She wasn't right for me, and deep down, I probably knew it from the start. When we first met, she was charming, beautiful, and confident. But now I understand something I didn't back then. Beauty and charm mean nothing if the person lacks honesty and loyalty. I overlooked her selfishness, her need for constant attention, and her little lies, thinking they didn't matter. But they did. I think a part of me wanted to believe that love could fix everything. That if I worked hard enough, if I provided enough, if I gave her everything, she would stay loyal and appreciate me. But that's not how it works. Real love isn't about what you can give, it's about who you are when the giving stops. And when my job was gone and the money stopped flowing, her love disappeared. That's not love, it's convenience. To anyone listening to this, especially young men, be careful who you marry. Take your time to really know someone before you commit your life to them. Don't just look at how they act when things are good, pay attention to how they handle tough times. Do they support you, or do they make you feel small? Do they build with you, or do they run to someone else? These are the questions I wish I had asked myself. And here's the most important thing: don't ignore red flags. If something feels off, trust your gut. If someone lies about small things, they'll lie about big things. If someone puts themselves first all the time, they won't suddenly change when life gets harder. I learned this the hard way, and I hope you don't have to. So, if you're in a situation like mine, remember this: focus on yourself, not on them. Build a life so good, so full of purpose and happiness, that they'll never even be able to reach you again. That's how you truly win. What do you think? If you were in my shoes, would you have given her a different offer, or would you have done the same? Have you ever had to deal with someone trying to come back into your life after betraying you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to hear your perspective. And if this story resonates with you, or if you know someone who needs to hear it, please like and share this video. Thanks for watching, and remember, your worth isn't defined by those who betray you. It's defined by what you build for yourself.